All right, well, we may as well get started. GM one and all, welcome to our weekly all team tactical meeting. And we're going to use this time to sync up on all the work that's going on, eliminate blockers, and prioritize our work. Just as an FYI to everyone, this call is recorded and clips of participants are shared on social media. So if you don't want that, just please let me know. So in case you don't remember what we do, BCard's all about helping purpose-driven communities use Web3 tooling to generate revenue and engagement. And on the lag metric side, this is what we're trying to accomplish right now. We had $141 in transaction volume last week, so that's down 100. So definitely down from our highs in December. That is to be expected in kind of January, February. But the goal for us is to increase those as we go, slowly and surely. On the lead metric side, this is what we think is going to move the needle on the lag metrics. And we have 3 weekly transacting users, 2 new users, and 10 communities deployed. We have another community ready to go, and we'll hopefully run a full. Campaign with him as well. My words are missing as we speak, but we'll hopefully run a campaign with Glow Dollar as well, get some cross promo going, and hopefully we can get going on that front too. On the team wide announcements, looks like I have to move the ops
Really,
weekly.
sorry to cut you short, but like you're not sharing your screen.
Oh yeah, actually that's a great call out. Thanks for that. As I said, my brain is a little bit mushy today. So appreciate that, Winverse. Thank you so much. So it looks like I have to move the ops weekly. I have a conflicting daily all hands at that time for the next 3 months at least. So I don't know, Arcusy, you're one of the kind of ops weekly um, stalwarts. Maybe I'll just create a lettuce meet for you, me, and Crypto Dad. Actually, I better write it down now before I forget. Reschedule the um, the ops weekly. All right, cool. And congratulations, Arcusy, on your card reverse where you linked your bank account on 2/22/24. Nice. That's a really interesting stat. I like that. And honestly, you're probably one of the first people who did it.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of when we did our launch around ETH Denver last year, and I thought I actually had missed it, but I just checked on in the database. So
Sweet.
my first, yeah, and I loaded it on the 28th. So
very cool. Very cool. All right, we'll have to celebrate that somehow. I'll have to think about that. Anyways, I will send out a lettuce meet for this. And yeah, let's think about the fact that we had our first users just about a year ago. So nothing to sneeze at all. Very big year for us. Now on the milestone perspective, we're aiming to get 10 weekly transacting users. Honestly, it looks like we've been kind of like we kind of peaked a bit during December, and now we're kind of middling around like 3. And so on the in-app voting side, we did reskin. We got some bugs fixed, and I think it's ready for prod. Tom, would you agree?
Yep, I definitely agree.
All right. So it's only as good as the people who use it. So once we release it, I think the next step for us is to airdrop all of our users some BCard and add that token to our Black Flag Collective voting block so that people can actually use it. So we have about, let's see, it's February 19th, so we have about 9 days, 10 days, probably a little bit more to drop everyone some token before the next launch. It doesn't have to be a new token B card. We could just drop everyone bank if we wanted to. Anyways, it's something that Tom and I we should probably discuss. But the idea will be if we drop everyone some token that is votable in those kind of monthly snapshots that we're holding for the in real life events, then there's a reason for people to actually use it. And so that's pretty interesting. So a feature is only as good as its use. So if we put something out there and no one uses it, not so useful. And so the next step will be for us to make it useful. internally to this group and also to people beyond that. And so that's why we're talking about BCard here. Speaking of airdropping, our rewards flow is kind of janky right now. So we're going to be moving to airdropping rewards to the user's wallet. And that will kind of reduce all of those kind of wallet connect issues. So the users will get airdropped to their embedded wallet, which we can now easily use in our in-app voting. And so when we do this, it's going to be a very Web2 flow for people to earn tokens and use them for voting. So if you haven't used the in-app voting yet, take a look. It's basically you choose your vote on the first screen, you confirm on the second screen, and there's no kind of connection of wallet that has to happen, but all of that happens on chain. And so it's like all of these on-chain actions are happening under the hood, and that's exactly kind of what we set out to do when we started this project like 3 years ago. And so this is the first kind of thing that we're getting done. And when we have that flow, now we're going to start being able to sharing it with non-Web3 communities as well. And I think that's a really important point because there are a lot of nonprofits, not-for-profits, who, especially like I guess like in the current U.S. administration, there's cuts. There are going to be people who are scrambling to try to figure out ways to alleviate some of the budgetary pressures that they're having, and our card could help them. And so, we certainly could be doing things for people right now in the real world. And so, I think it's really important that we get this going. And yeah, anything else you want to say on in-app voting, airdrop rewards, or anything else that you're working on, Tom?
No, I think those are all great steps. I think making it usable and super duper friendly for everybody and useful is they're all great steps towards that.
Awesome. All right, on the 10 users a week side, testing messaging, no progress on this, except, I guess like I've been thinking about it. This thing I've been saying around people scrambling to fill in their budgets in the US, I think like this is some messaging I really want to test as well. So far, we've been kind of targeting individual users in crypto more so with our messaging than communities, I would say. And really, it's been kind of crypto focused. But I do think that I've said this before that product market fit also depends upon which markets you're targeting. And I do think that we have something that could be useful to non-crypto audiences as well. And so I think that we're at the point where we may be able to start testing messaging for communities who are looking for funding. And if we can create a funnel for them to actually be able to add them to our card, for them to actually be able to tell their community about it, for their community to be able to start kicking in their spending habits for their communities, that would be a really big thing. I'm inspired actually lately by what's going on with the Canada-US trade war. And I don't know if you guys have it at your, so not everyone here is in Canada, but in my local grocery store, you go through and all of the things from America, the produce from America, the snacks from America, that kind of stuff is still on the shelves, and all of the Canadian and Mexican stuff has been absolutely bought up. And so people do vote with their dollars. People are willing to make changes when they feel like it affects them, when you are able to make them feel something emotionally. And so that's what we're trying to do with this message testing. And I think right now, in a situation where we have lots of emotions flying around and people kind of being like, what can I do about this? Well, we can provide a small thing that they can do. Anyways, when we talk about testing the messaging, I'm going to be running a bunch of landing pages in Google Ads. I haven't had a chance to do that yet, but basically now that the in-app voting is done, I think that this is going to be more my concern. There's a few other things that are up there as well, but this is one of the more important things is to get that messaging tested, or at least have a, let's say, methodical way of testing that messaging. All right, ChippyCon, Drost, how's this going?
Well, I just happened to have gotten a message this morning from Perchy with new artwork. So, good timing. ChippyCon's going well. I would first of all like to apologize for not doing any promotion this past week on ChippyCon. And Tom, I was supposed to follow up with you. I did not. I did, but Perchy's been working on his art. He didn't actually respond to my request for the user side of NFT stuff for you, Tom. So I don't know what specifically to ask there. Or maybe just put you two in touch with each other. And
I mean, we
I don't know if you're.
we can like for the stuff that Tom needs, it's basically just some text, Tom.
Yeah, so promotion wise, I guess we're just gonna have something like a title and a description and the artwork. I didn't know if there was any other like fancy sort of like things we could put on it. Maybe like the year, maybe the city, something like that. As like little badges, like NFT sort of properties. But
Year and
Okay.
city is a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And maybe
Yeah, in fact, I
events
didn't
ChippyCon
mean to
too.
say they're final. He said, in fact, I'll just read what he said to me. He goes, update, change text to BCard loyal. In fact, I can share it with you if you want to see it now. Change text to BCard loyalty token, but the ChippyCon one, which is this one everybody gets, remains as achievement unlocked. He added some small details and then any final edits. So yeah, we can definitely, I think year and city is a good idea too.
Yeah, so we can add that to the NFT metadata. Like Perchy doesn't have to add that to the.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, that'll just be like
Okay.
if you look at it, the NFT on OpenSea, you'll be able to like see when you got it and where it was and stuff.
So if
Okay,
you're happy
okay.
with the art roast, then I'll just get Tom the metadata he needs, and then we can like get that contract together. Tom,
Okay.
question: are you going to be using the same contract for all of our kind of events? Well, maybe it's not the same contract, but like in OpenSea, how like there are certain NFT contracts and they have certain metadata, but then they're like sometimes associated with other collections.
Yeah.
I wondered like an NFT contract is like for this you would use one contract, but how would it be associated with other kinds of drops we might do like this in the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of that is just around sort of like an account you set up on a platform that sort of like groups together like collections, rather than just by contract address. So in the short term, I would say like this could be used as like a promotional one-off and then be cloned or forked for sort of each subsequent event. I don't think it's like anything that needs to be persistent sort of long term. I was thinking sort of like use it, freeze it, renounce ownership and kind of lock it in its current state. And then the next time we needed one, just sort of deploy a new one. But we could always, if you wanted to keep it sort of evergreen, we could always do that. And then, just continue sort of incrementing.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll share that with him. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Tom, like we don't need to worry about it for right now. If it was something that, like, I guess in the future when we actually have like more of these drops, we may want to launch the contract from like a multi-sig with like a BCard address or something like that. But for now, I think it's okay.
The ownership is changeable for sure, right? So, but this one, because it's it's relatively public, I kept it to be only owner for the mintability. So really, I just kind of assigned the ownership of the contract to the the EOA that's doing the minting, and then from there we can always or change ownership to a multi-sig later, or renounce it if we want to like lock it or freeze it.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Cool.
Okay, and so then Perch will be getting the artwork to you, or I'll get it. Somehow you'll get it, Tom, directly, and then you'll be able to incorporate it into the deployment.
Yeah, I guess is now a good time to talk about sort of the current state of that. From a technical standpoint, it's implemented. I went ahead and I did some work on sort of the automated NFT minting in the back end, and I believe it should be all set up and ready to go on production, such that when the correct transaction comes in, a NFT will be minted automatically. So
Awesome.
that should be good. The funny thing is, right now the contract is, of course, just showing placeholder artwork, right? So
Right, sure.
it's just something funny that we can in the future deploy sort of an updated URI that points to the new artwork and the new metadata, and then sort of all that will go live sort of on reveal. So I figured that would be sort of something coincident with the launch of the event, I suppose, the start of the event.
I'm sorry, what was that last sentence?
Oh, sorry. I was just saying that I suppose we would choose a time when to deploy sort of the updated artwork and metadata. So it's sort of like the launch time. And I guess that could be coincident with the ChippyCon event start or end or something like that, depending
I
on
think you could.
when we wanted to see that art visible online.
I think you could do it sooner rather than. I don't think it. I don't think we need to go like down to the wire or anything. Like when we get a little bit more polished, we can do those kinds of things. But for now, I think we can put that stuff up. Maybe we could put it up on IPFS, or we could put it up on our own hosted server or something like that. And then it's fine if people see it ahead of time, right? Like they're still not going to get the NFT unless they buy something from Whiskey Bar at a certain time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's right.
So yeah.
We had talked before about ways for people to, obviously we're going to get, people are going to be at the bar that don't know anything about either Chippy or BCard specifically. I think most people are going to know about Chippy, obviously, but BCard they won't. So yeah, I'm trying to think about how we could, even just a QR to learn about BCard or get BCard. It's like up at the bar or something when they're going to pay for their drinks, and if we maybe um,
Yeah, something we could do is a landing page specifically for that event, right? Like that might give me a way to do a landing page because I've been like, oh, I'm going to do a landing page. Oh, I'm going to do a landing page. Well, I have like a deadline. Maybe I'll actually do a landing page for the ChippyCon event. Otherwise,
like
we could just do
TrueCat did a nice QR for me that I can have on my phone to share the Black Flag DAO staking link. And we're not sharing that widely, obviously, because you could, to share a staking link is have a QR just floating around out there is kind of dangerous. But it got me thinking also about, that's how everything is shared at ETH Denver and events like that. But it would be really nice. I mean, I could even get a little poster printed up at FedEx Kinko's ahead of time and have it there with a QR that says, hey, whatever it's saying about, and maybe even have the graphic of what the NFT would have you would have gotten if you had a B card already.
yeah.
Or if we
Makes sense.
sign up that I don't know. I'm just trying to think of ways to, get more attention, get more users when we've got total. It's a place to build awareness for it, and if there's no call to action, I guess.
Yeah,
and I don't
could
want
we
it to
give
be
them?
overt. I don't want to be like, because everybody's being shilled at ETH Denver, and this is really more of a party with friends, and the mechanics behind it are more of a, it's not the primary focus. The primary focus is friends getting together and having fun.
I'm wondering if you could give people a path that are interested in getting the NFT but don't have the B cards, or are sort of like shut out by finding out about it just at the event. Like if you give them a QR code to scan that gives them, let's just say, for example, an on-chain like signature to sign or something like that just authenticates that they were there and they signed with their wallet or something like that.
Well, they'll have a POAP.
Yeah, use the POAP in the future or something like that. But I was just gonna say that could easily be used as a list to then deploy future NFTs as like a bonus or something.
Well, there you go, because we will have a POAP for every attendee, and as long as they get their POAP while they're there, we'll have that.
Yeah, that POAP list would be could be the distribution list if you wanted to sort of deploy a bunch of these. If we feel like only a handful of people got them, but a bunch more people wanted them.
Yeah, I mean,
Awesome.
I would create a separate NFT for that, right? Because the exclusivity is part of it, right? That I think is
Right.
really important. But I would create a separate NFT that everyone potentially gets. I mean, that's what the POAP is. But like in the future, if we say for instance, when we release a Chippy community, hey, everyone who has a Chippy plus everyone who went to ChippyCon, you get this special edition NFT for this Chippy community that we're releasing, kind of thing.
Yeah, cool.
Or maybe it's just like if you're on the POAP list, then you're entered in a raffle and you might win the exclusive one or something.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like prizes.
Yeah.
All right,
That's a good
cool.
idea.
I know we need to move on.
Yeah. So the actions out of this are Drost needs to get Tom the artwork, and I need to set up that metadata. And also Drost, I'll try to create like a kind of like landing page for you, but like as well, you want to be able to have fun at the event. So let's try not to make it anything. I'll try to ensure that
Super
it's
low
nothing
key.
that you need to like chill or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah. So
All right, my
the
friend.
shilling the better. Let's
Excellent.
just say it like that.
Yeah. It's going to be so much fun. You're not going, right, Lynx?
I'm not going no.
Oh, sorry. Tom, are you going to be able to make it, or are you not going to be able to do it this time?
No, unfortunately, not me either.
All right. Well, I know you'll be there in spirit.
I know I'll be definitely thinking about it. So.
All right. We'll try and capture some fun stuff from the event so that you can live vicariously through it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'll try to. I'll spend my time trying to hack in some cool features so that people can see some cool stuff in their BCard app.
One question I was thinking about, Tom, is that when they actually make that purchase, do they have to like restart the app to see the NFT?
Well, at this point, technically, nothing will happen. So there'll need to be a deployment done on the app client to enable that. But it's really just a turning on of the new contract address to detection of the existing NFT location. So will they have to reboot the app? It's interesting. Let me think about that.
Yeah, because however it works, we might just want to tell Drost, and Drost might just be like, "Oh, hard closure app and restart it." But it would be better if they just could pull down to refresh, or there's even a refresh button in that little badges section.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I was thinking mostly about the other end of it, which is the deployment aspect, and making sure that we registered the transaction and got the NFT fired off and went to the correct location and everything. Beyond that, I have still yet to think about sort of the app client side and having it be sort of like let's just say discoverable in a delightful way for the user.
Yeah, that delight is the key. If we can make it delightful for a couple of people, they'll tell their friends, right? And so we want to make it delightful for Drost, and then Drost is just like, "Oh, this was great," right? Like, let's do that again, or let's do something else, right? That's
Yeah, there's some question as well around sort of when that transaction will hit our server as well, because it could happen in real time that the transaction gets processed and fired off. That happens with some merchants and machines that we know, but then we know some as well are held and settled in a batch at the end of the night. And so if
How
they're all
fast-
going to be just held and settled in a batch at the end of the night when the whiskey bar closes, it's kind of like I guess it'll all still fire off at the same time, and everybody will get their NFT mints, but it'll be a funny time.
one thing that you could do is just ensure that it's using authorized and not settled.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
definitely I think going to trigger on authorized. So.
Sweet, cool.
Cool.
All right. Well, this is the first time we're doing it, so we'll probably discover a bunch of hiccups. But yeah, cool.
And that's what I've been
cool.
positioning it too. This is a fun experiment. We're using Web3 tools. We're working with our own network of projects and friends between Chippy, Black Flag DAO, BCard. I mean, and they're all very, very small teams that are pulling this stuff together. And the whole space we're in is an experiment anyway, and this is a fun thing. And
Yeah, yeah.
so I think it's, I mean,
We're
all
all
good.
friends here for sure, and I think as long as we don't commit to any hard timelines, nobody's going to be that upset about it. Right? You end up with a nice NFT. It's relatively automated at the end of the day, whether it's an hour, or, 10 minutes, next night, whatever. Hopefully, it'll all work
Exactly.
out.
And the fact that people don't have to jump through a lot of hoops, I think for me is a big thing, because that so many of these things, it drives me nuts. You have to do, and even I think Perchy had done a cartoon about that, where you don't qualify for an airdrop even though you did 19 out of the 20 things. It's like, oh, sorry, you don't qualify. Anyway.
That's right.
Cool. On the Taxman, last step is to send an email out to our list. So it's just not the top thing on my list to do, but I will do that before April because that's when people are doing taxes. Hopefully, I'll do it before the end of February. On the endowment fund, no progress from me on this week. But I did talk to some people at Purple DAO, and it looks like this is still a go. So hopefully we'll still get some purple funding to the tune of 10 ETH. One of the things that I wanted to talk to actually the multi-sig about NF Thinker was I wanted to put some, like the way that I'm doing the like how much each bank holder gets in terms of voting weight, how much each purple member gets in voting weight. I want to do something similar for how much each BCard holder gets if we're dropping people BCard for this thing. And to do that, it would mean that we should put something into the endowment fund. So, and I think, what do you think about that? I mean, I think we still have like a couple $1,000s worth of assets, but if we deposited into this pool together fund, this is still an asset of the multi-sig. We can still pull it out whenever we want, but then we have a way to get all BCard holders kind of engaged.
Yeah, I think in terms of the endowment fund, even looking at the recent activation with Black Flag DAO and how we do membership over there, it kind of makes sense. It's like staking, right? Except rather than your traditional staking pool, it's similar, just very slightly different. So essentially, we can get our money back, right? It's not necessarily buying anything, purchasing anything that has to be traded back. It's one for one. So and we create some yield. But yeah, I'm totally down for that. In terms of voting weight, did you want to kind of touch on that again? What were you getting at there?
Yeah, so I can show you what the voting weight looks like. So basically, so previously for Black Flag DAO, because they had deposited something like 20 ETH and like $50,000, we had like a kind of we had a kind of hey, we will do a vote in Discord, and then we will do a vote, and we will then get the multi-sig to vote on the to vote on the snapshot itself. And the multi-sig, as you probably know from those people at Black Flag DAO, they don't move very fast. And so we kind of missed it. So I was just like, okay, how about instead of that, we get individual bank holders to vote. And to do that, I needed to see how much each bank was worth. So the way I did that, there's a billion bank, but the treasury is holding 426 million. So that means that there's 573,000 outstanding. Black Flag DAO supplied 96% of the USDC and 93% of the WETH, and so they have a certain weight here of how much each bank holder gets. And so you can see here, I kind of change it to the amount of WETH they get. It looks like I made a mistake here, actually. Plus J2, plus J3. Well, anyways, bank holders should have been getting more votes, but they will get more votes on the next round. This is why it's important this stuff is done in public. So I would use something similar for BCard here. So like, let's say if we put in like $1,000 in USDC, then we would probably get like let's say like 1 or 2% of the voting response, and if we had like B card here, then we would have like, oh, each B card based upon the total supply and the amount outstanding, each B card gets like is worth like 0.00 something like that, right? Like that would be the way that I would be doing the voting weight. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So voting weight depending on how much you hold of the pool.
Exactly. So the community, Black Flag DAO, holds a certain amount of the pool, and so that means that their token holders each get like a bit of that voting weight.
Mm-hmm. So are these two separate pools, Bank and BCard, or are they the same pool that people?
They're the same pool,
Right.
and we would
Same
do it based upon how much each community adds to that pool.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of need to wrap my mind around little bit more around the concept of, what it is we're voting on and what the Black Flag DAO community votes on compared to the rest of the communities. Is this
They all vote on the
specifically
same thing.
events,
Yeah.
initiatives?
It's just this is just for the in real life events. So this is only
Okay,
for this one snapshot space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we're going to be.
It's literally one monthly. It's every month there is one snapshot which says which event should we fund. And so you can see here we had 6 events here. This month we will have ChippyCon. This month we will have another Black Flag event that Hero's putting on. So we're gonna have a couple of other events and probably some Farcaster events too. Yeah.
Okie doke.
And so
Well, yeah.
space-
Overall, I mean, yeah, I like your formulas there. It makes sense. So yeah.
Cool. All right. All right. Cool. So yeah, I will talk to you about that, about depositing some funds into this USDC/WETH space, and we'll go from there afterwards. All right. So that's it for the endowment fund. We have 10 high quality communities. Glow Dollar. I checked on staging. Looks like it's ready to go. How do you feel about that one, Tom?
Yep, it's good to go for me. I think that check the back end, and looks like it's good to go whenever it hits production. It should be ready.
All right. I'm going to poke our friends at Glow Dollar as well to just get them to look at it, which I haven't done yet. But yeah, I will put that.
Yeah, I'll just run some test transactions on staging just to verify everything's a-okay. But I think that's the last step for me.
Cool. So that's going to go out soon. Black Flag community soon, and so this will be as we are aligning around getting people to vote on these kinds of things. We could use a Black Flag community, which will allow them to donate their yield to in real life events. So we'll work on that when we get a chance. And Chippy community soon. Well, let's get through ChippyCon first, but then after that we can think about what those rewards can go to. Potentially could just go straight to Perchy, right? Hey, support Perchy, and maybe everyone who's part of that community, Perchy will drop artwork every once in a while. Anyways, we'll see. I don't know what the best way to
Just
do it
one
is.
note. They do have a I don't know if it's a multi-sig, but there is an address that is funding Chippy Treasury. So like Johnny did a Kickstarter for the children's book and mugs and stuff. And then also they're selling raffle tickets. And even if you don't attend ChippyCon in person, you'll be able to buy raffle tickets
Oh, sweet.
by sending, I believe, USDC to that address. And so I meant to mention this last week, but I wasn't. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. So Johnny is doing that, and then he's doing also a bingo card. So when you fill your bingo card, you get a raffle ticket. So that's in person. So if you're not there, you're going to be able to buy a raffle ticket by sending to a wallet address that he's given. I don't know if it's an EOA or a multi-sig. I think it's a multi-sig. And yeah, so those are the two components that I thought I should mention. That's another engagement component that funds Chippy. And so I had mentioned having BCard for Chippy, and Perchy's definitely receptive to that. And so This is a great experiment, and anyway, like I said, I just wanted to mention about the bingo card and how they're funding the treasury through the sale of
Neat.
the raffle tickets.
Sweet, great way to do it. So yeah, we could fund a treasury with that. Let's get into the task level stuff. We have in-app voting. This is ready to go pretty much. So I'll leave it in this week until we actually release it, and then we're gonna work on some of the other stuff we talked about. Christy, I think the place we lift this is you and I need to have a discussion about this.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
So I was gonna DM you, but you mentioned the let us meet. So let's see what times work out for us.
Okay, sounds good. ChippyCon, we discussed this at length, so I'll leave that for there. Taxman, again, last thing to do is to send an email to our users or to our email list. Make in-app voting useful to the BCard Black Flag Collective team. Well, we talked about this as well. Glow Dollar, this is almost ready to go out. And then we're going to be running a co-marking campaign. Identity messaging and growth dashboard. We talked about the landing pages and how we're going to work on this. DeSci AMA, how's this looking, NF Thinker?
Yeah, good. We're good to go for tomorrow. I have logged into the Black Flag DAO account, and that is where it's going to be hosted. So I'm going to be posting some stuff on that shortly here. I'm working on a tweet. I will get a little banner out. We have MGOs confirmed. We have Kristen and Kimberly confirmed. You confirmed. And we have a VC and his partner confirmed. I have been speaking to Elijah, but I haven't heard back from him for tomorrow. Also going to reach out to Crypto Shrimp. I know he's big in the DeSci space. And yeah, see if we can draw up a little bit of interest from that. In terms of what we'll be discussing, I have created a my computer is on a bit of a go slow here. Hold on a second. In the BCard home page, down at the bottom in the content calendar, I've created the event itself. So if you scroll down there to the content calendar, all the way to the bottom, that's it.
Oh, cool.
And you'll see the DeSci AMA there. Yeah, and you click on that, and it's just a template currently. This is a template that I've used over the years, and it serves me quite well. I will be adjusting it very slightly. I've made some adjustments because it was kind of geared towards shapeshift, so I've changed some of those things for future spaces. Anytime anybody wants to run a space and wants to use this template, all you have to do is go into that content calendar, click on new calendar, and then you'll be able to select. You just click new. There you go, X-Space template, and it pops up, and then you can enter the date, you can enter all the relevant details, etc. And it's really good for tracking. Not just tracking. It's good for the prep, which admittedly has been subpar for this space. I know it hasn't been. I have not been like on top of planning it, but with this in place, if anybody is hosting spaces on a regular basis, it's easy to go in there. I've got two different drop downs at the top. One is sort of preparation, and I don't know why this is for some reason not really loading for me, but I've just refreshed. Maybe this will work. Yes, if I open up preparation on there, I can see things I've got to do. I've got my guest list. If you just click on there under preparation and click on to do, you got a little checklist there of things that need to be done in preparation for the space. Obviously, all adjustable as we go forward. Artwork, in case any banners are created. Promo posts will be listing, like if you're going to tweet about, so for example, today I'll tweet about the post from the Black Flag DAO account, and I'll add that in there. Any helpful notes that will just kind of be, discussing, if anybody needs to know about the guest or the topic, et cetera, et cetera. So after preparation, we got content, and this is pins for the space. This is super helpful because oftentimes, oh, sorry, Dross, I see you said you wish you'd had that template yesterday. Yeah, this is available. And feel free to use it, and also feel free to tweak it, make it yours. You can either edit that template if you think it's something that's going to be better for everybody, or you can duplicate the template and create one that's just your own. In terms of pins for the space, it is helpful to pin during the space because if you're promoting somebody or you're with a company who, like say for tomorrow, we've got OMF, they're going to want to get a message out, right? They want to push a message out to whoever is listening, whoever's watching, whoever happens to tune in. There's the comment section where people can put stuff in the comments, but if you pin it, it's automatically up at the top of that space, and people can then see that if they go back to listen to it. It's very helpful to have pinned stuff. It also shows up in people's feed in a slightly different way, I believe. Links, if you have any referral links that need to go in there, links to reference to go in there, helpful. Memes, self-explanatory quotes if you're going to quote anybody or anything on the day. I find that very helpful. And then we just go straight into agenda. And the agenda is pretty simple. Literally just welcome, people filter in, do an intro, say a disclaimer, topic overview, and then jump straight into the introductions, right? We have a little maybe BCard promo, tell them what we're about, and then introduce the guests. People do not like lots of promos. They don't like being sold to. They tend to tune out when you go off on like sales pitches. This is not meant to be a sales pitch. It's meant to be community building. And so if you are hosting a space, keep that in mind. It's not about pushing a product. Obviously, subvertly, it is. But overtly, it needs to be about community building. It needs to be about getting people engaged. And that's why at the very end of this, at the end of our space, we like to do some things that are community shout outs, final words from the guests, some summary points, and try and focus on building, try and focus on creating communication, relationships, and bringing people together. And once we do that, then it's really not as important how many people tune in and how many people show up. It's about getting the message across.
Sweet.
So
All right.
tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific.
Okay. And I need to I mean, I have it in my calendar, but I feel like I didn't like click on the going on X. I should do that too.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I need to create the link in X as well so people can do that. That's what I'm about to do now.
Yes. Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right. Black Flag Endowment Fund, as I said before, we don't have a lot of progress this week, but we'll get into it as we go. And I think most of the stuff on here, there hasn't been as much effort over the last week, so I'll just skip them. Anything else that we're working on that's not on this list? All right. Let's get into what we shipped last week. So we promoted ShippyCon on our socials. Tom got the ShippyCon, let's call it technical backend working, and Grost got revisions on the art from Perchy.
And I talked about it on the Black Flag DAO Twitter or X space yesterday.
Awesome. All right. Drost put the all hands up on YouTube. Tom and Links finished the in-app voting, ready for prod, and Tom got Glow Dollar ready to ship. Good, nice. Got a good week. Got some stuff ready to go out the door. Yeah. Anything else that we shipped that we want to write down? Okay. So we don't have a lot of time for this discussion item, but I guess like the question that I put here is how do we engage people with in-app voting? And this is something that we're going to be working on now that we're going to get it to prod. We're going to need to actually do some stuff with it to make it actually useful. Another thing to note is that it's behind our auth flow, which means you must have a BCard to use this. So for the people, like the real question is, how do we get the people who are using BCard to use in-app voting? Or, maybe we could anyways, yes, I think that's probably the real question is how do we get people how do we get our users to engage with in-app voting? And some questions I wrote down for some thinking. What should we vote on? who should we get to vote? How should we have them vote? Yeah. Any thoughts on this? Should I lay out the current plan?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, so we have this one monthly vote that we have for in real life communities. We have what we're giving out, between, let's say, $300 to $500 every month, and so that means that it is so far has been engaging to event holders. It has so far been engaging to enough people that they went ahead and voted on the events themselves on our snapshot. And so the question, so that's the plan, is that we have this one vote every month for in real life events. We're going to start getting more communities involved with it, and it's easy to vote within BCard. And so the plan is to make it more interesting for our users to vote in there, is to get the BCard multisig to put some money into that particular yield, that particular pool together, and then every single user that we have that we give BCard to will have some voting rights. So basically, in the onboarding flow, we could give them some voting rights, and then they would automatically be able to see what's going on with the latest vote. It would show up on their screen. They would see it, and hopefully we could get almost every user of BCard to vote on this, because it's that easy to do it. It's two taps and you're done. So that's kind of the plan currently, but that's only one way to do it. What are some other ways that we can do it? And another thing is, how do we get the people in this room to be interested?
Visually compelling. So I was just looking at that the image that Tom posted of the badges, and I've seen Black Flag Betty before. She, pardon the pun, she popped out at me. But it occurred to me that there's so much reading, with voting. It's always it's a wall of text for voting on stuff. And I think that's part of the reason people don't vote, is because it's like, oh my God, I got to read another lengthy thing I don't want to read. I just want to clicky, like Candy Crush or something, So if we could make it fun in a couple of ways. One is you're voting on fun things, and B, the voting itself is enjoyable.
Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking, Drost, is, and this kind of ties into this idea of like a swag store that we had in the past, that like we could run like a vote for, like, let's say for instance we were going to make Black Flag swag, and we're like, hey everyone, come up with a couple of options. We'll put it up on a snapshot, and whichever option we gets the most votes, that's the one that we're going to do this month. And then eventually we could get into like a monthly thing where every month we're doing a different piece of swag. But we can't do that in the short run. But yeah, that's something that would be interesting.
Right, but that kind of mechanism where it's you're voting on something that's fun, and then it results in something cool that you played a part in bringing to life, that you're only able to do because you're a member of that community.
Yeah, so I would love to do something like that. Like, we could do it probably in a smaller way for Black Flag, like the Black Flag in real life events. Like, for that community, we could just like create some sort of like Black Flag swag, like a T-shirt or something, in a very like limited kind of like low effort kind of way that doesn't scale to a bunch of communities, to test out this kind of idea of, hey, could we get a bunch of people to vote and make a like a logo or something, and then hey, when people pay for it, the artist automatically gets 20% or something like that, thanks to whatever. Like, that's the kind of idea to get people to actually try.
Yeah, good thoughts.
All right. Other thoughts?
I'm just amazed when it works at all, and so I like using it just to try it out.
Yeah, I like using it too. It's actually I actually prefer doing it in the app than Snapshot.
It's a little nicer.
Yeah, likewise. And I was even just thinking about a card sign up process. BCard is actually easier than others I've dealt with. Like I dealt with an affinity card just recently. Just they gave me a discount on shipping or whatever. I didn't have to pay the sales tax. So I went and used their internal cards. I went and signed up for the damn thing, which I don't normally do. But it ended up being a pain in the ass to avoid paying fees and stuff because there's all the fine print I didn't read because I just wanted to get the damn thing ordered. And I really like that BCard doesn't do that.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
Like they're
Are we
all
running
trying to
out
pull
of
a fast one on you.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're trying to be a little bit more open, right? Like openness is one of our values. We just want like whatever we are, that's what we are, and that's what we'll tell you. We won't try to be something we're not, or pretend to be something we're not, which I think a lot of card providers try to do.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I mean, this is some food for thought. I do have a meeting to get to in about 5 minutes. But unless anyone has any ideas, I guess we can kind of end it up. All right. All right, fair enough. Anyways, if you guys have any ideas at all, feel free to just share them in the team chat. I think it's useful, even if it's less like a half-baked idea. Consider this just like a brainstorming prompt, because ultimately, as I said before, a feature that you just put out there and doesn't get used isn't much of a feature at all, right? And so more than half of the job is going to be actually getting people to use this thing and adjusting it based upon people's feedback. So I think that it's something that a lot of, let's say, software developers and let's say even software product managers, they don't get. They think that if they build the feature, people will come. No, you gotta take the time to actually support that feature. You gotta take the time to actually make sure that feature's good. That's what we did for the onboarding flow. That's what we did for the rewards flow, and we're still looking at how we can improve them. So we have a smaller scope that we've done, and that makes sense. None of us are working full time on this, but we still want to produce something of quality so that when people use it, they can be like, "Oh yeah, this is good." And the onboarding flow got better and better and better over time, and so that we want to do the same thing with this in-app voting. Anyways, I will take the last couple of minutes to say, hey, thank you to all of you for being here. I think it's super important. Even just showing up is of huge importance because it means that you care enough to be here. And I think that is something that is not really happening in the crypto space right now. There are people who are around, but everyone is kind of feeling the pinch a little bit more. People are doing different things. So even just you showing up, showing your face, showing some sort of interest and contributing in any small way is a big help to making this thing happen. Let's not forget the reason that we're here is because we believe in purpose over profit. There are lots of ways that we could be doing that, but together we're going to be able to accomplish much more than we would be able to do apart. And if we can figure this product out, not only are we going to be able to have a bigger impact by working on things together, we're going to enable other groups to be able to have a bigger impact by working together. And that is the essence of a bottom-up community. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here. You are probably helping more than you know. So thanks a lot.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Lynx.
Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Hey, I just wanted to say about those NFTs. I got a few from my mint tests. If anybody wanted to take a look at how those badges are being displayed in the app and they wanted to see them in their embedded wallet, send me a DM with your embedded wallet address and I will fire you off a test NFT.
Cool. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks.
Have a good
I'm
one,
glad you're
everybody.
feeling better, Winverse.
All the best.